This sign is sorting hearts before the rapture. There is a sign happening right now that most people are completely missing. It isn't flashing in the sky, it isn't a world event, and it isn't a prophetic headline. It's quieter than that, closer than that, more personal than that. It's happening inside you, inside every believer, and Jesus warned this very sign would appear in the final moments before the rapture. The truth is, before Jesus separates the church from the world, he is allowing something to separate hearts from hearts, faith from habit, devotion from distraction, fire from form. And whether you realize it or not, this sign is already sorting people, dividing those who are truly ready for his coming from those who are only familiar with his name. You may feel it right now, something shifting in you, a stirring, a discomfort, a pull to let go of things that once felt normal, a realization that the things of this world are losing their grip. Or maybe you feel the opposite, an unusual heaviness, a lack of passion, a drifting that scares you. That feeling is not random, it's a sign. It's revealing where your heart really is, not to condemn you, but to awaken you. Because Jesus is returning for a bride who is awake, devoted, surrendered, burning with love, not half asleep and clinging to the world. Look around. People who once walked with passion are growing cold. Others who were silent are suddenly waking up, praying, repenting, searching for truth with urgency. Families are dividing over faith. Churches are being shaken. Hearts are being exposed. Not by disaster, but by decision. Not by pressure, but by revelation. This is the sign Jesus spoke of, the sorting of hearts before his return. And if you're feeling this shaking, this stirring, this undeniable pull to choose whom you belong to, it's because Jesus is calling you closer right now. This is not the time to drift. This is not the time to hide. This is not the time to play it safe. The sign is happening. The sorting has begun, and every heartbeat is being revealed for what it truly loves. The sign of separation. Jesus revealed it before the end would come. When Jesus spoke about the days leading up to his return, he didn't describe a peaceful spiritual climate. He described a world where separation would begin not by human decision, but by divine revelation. He spoke of sheep and goats, wheat and tares, wise and foolish virgins, faithful servants and fearful ones. In every picture Jesus gave of the last days, there is a dividing line being drawn, slowly, quietly, but unmistakably. And that dividing line is not between the church and the world, it is happening inside the church itself. This is the sign that is sorting hearts before the rapture. It is not a political event, not a crisis, not a global catastrophe. It is a spiritual separation that begins with the exposure of what people truly love, truly desire, truly pursue. Right now, Jesus is allowing circumstances, pressures, decisions, relationships, and spiritual environments to reveal the real condition of hearts, not to shame, but to expose, not to destroy, but to prepare. Because the rapture is not simply about removing the church, it is about unveiling who the true bride is. You may have noticed this separation already. People who once walked with you no longer share the same fire. Some who sang beside you now barely whisper his name. Others who stood near you in faith have drifted into apathy, compromise, or confusion. At the same time, believers you thought were quiet or unnoticed are suddenly rising with hunger, pursuing Jesus with a passion you never saw before. The sign is happening. Jesus is sorting hearts not by outward activity, but by inward devotion. This separation is not loud, it is not violent, it is not dramatic. It's subtle, like a shift in the wind. A change in appetite. A difference in the way people respond to Jesus. Some hearts soften, others harden. Some surrender, others resist. Some are awakened, others fall asleep. The sign works not by pushing but by revealing. When Jesus shines his light on the heart, the true condition becomes impossible to hide. Nothing exposes a heart faster than the end times. Prophecy unfolding forces people to choose what they believe. The shaking of the world forces people to anchor themselves somewhere. The silence of God in certain seasons forces people to pursue him for real or walk away for good. And the approaching rapture forces every believer to face the question, am I truly ready for him, or am I only familiar with him? That is what Jesus meant when he said everything hidden would be revealed. Not later, in the final hours before his return. The pressures of this hour are not random. They are purposeful. They are not punishments. They are invitations. They are not signs of judgment. They are signs of sorting. Jesus is preparing his bride by purifying her, dividing her from those who only followed him casually. This sign reveals who has built their life on the rock and who has built it on sand. It reveals who is holding oil and who is holding excuses. It reveals who chooses Jesus when everything shakes and who chooses convenience instead. Those who belong to him are being drawn closer. Those who do not are drifting away. And the separation is not meant to scare you, it is meant to save you. Because Jesus wants you on the right side of the separation. He wants you to be counted among the wise, the faithful, the devoted, the burning. He wants you to stand with those who choose him even when the world grows darker. But the sorting is happening whether we like it or not. And every day, with every decision, your heart is being revealed by how you respond to his voice. This sign is not about what you know, it's about who you are. Not about your past, it's about your posture. Not about what you've done, it's about what you're willing to surrender. And right now, Jesus is calling you to choose the narrow road, the burning love, the surrendered life. Not tomorrow, not when things get worse. Now, because the separation has begun and the bridegroom is coming soon. Part 2. The fire test. Trials that reveal what the heart truly holds. Before the rapture, Jesus allows something powerful yet uncomfortable to happen. A refining fire that reveals what the heart truly carries. A fire that separates imitation from authenticity, convenience from conviction, emotional faith from enduring faith. This fire is one of the clearest signs sorting hearts before Jesus returns, and many believers don't recognize it for what it is. Trials don't create your heart condition, they reveal it. Pressure doesn't change your foundation, it shows what your foundation already was. Fire doesn't invent your devotion, it makes visible how deep it truly ran. And that is why Jesus allows discomfort in the final hour. Because the rapture is not for those who acted religious, it is for those who endured with genuine faith. Look at what's happening in your life. The shaking, the confusion, the spiritual fatigue, the unexpected challenges, the loneliness, the pruning, the stretching. All of it is a test not of your reputation, but of your roots. When everything is stripped away, what remains? When life becomes uncertain, who do you trust? When your plans fall apart, where do you anchor your hope? This is the sorting. Many believers had faith when things were easy, when the world felt stable, when life made sense. But when the shaking began, their devotion cracked because it was built on comfort, not conviction. Meanwhile, others who were overlooked and underestimated suddenly rose stronger. Why? Because their faith wasn't shallow, it was planted deep. Jesus warned that in the last days, many would fall away because their faith had no root. Not because they didn't love him, but because they never built intimacy with him. The fire's exposing this now. You can see it everywhere. Some are questioning everything. Others are clinging tighter than ever. Some are losing heart. Others are being purified, refined, strengthened. The fire is sorting hearts quietly but unmistakably. Pain has a way of revealing what words can hide. Disappointment exposes whether you trust the promise or only the outcome. Delayed answers expose whether you love Jesus or only his blessings. Suffering exposes whether your faith is emotional or eternal. This is not cruelty, it is mercy. Jesus is giving every believer a chance to see themselves clearly while there is still time to be transformed. The fire also reveals something else, the presence or absence of oil. In the parable of the virgins, the difference wasn't in their belief, but in their preparation. The foolish had lamps. They had light for a moment. They looked the part. But when pressure came, their flame died because they had no reserve, no depth, no endurance. The fire test reveals whether you have oil in private or only a flame in public. Jesus is calling you to embrace the refining, not resist it. When trials reveal fear, bring it to him. When pressure reveals weakness, let him strengthen you. When pain reveals unhealed places, let him heal you. The fire is not meant to destroy your faith. And for those who submit to the refining, their hearts are being prepared for the moment he calls. The fire is sorting hearts by showing who truly belongs to Jesus, who truly trusts him, who truly loves him. And if you are feeling the flames right now, take comfort. It is proof you are being prepared, not abandoned. Jesus refines what he intends to receive, and he is coming soon to gather those whose hearts endured the fire and emerged burning even brighter. Part 3. The Offense Explosion. How wounded hearts reveal end-time conditions. One of the most overlooked signs Jesus gave about the last days is found in a single sentence that is unfolding everywhere around us. And then many will be offended. He didn't say a few. He didn't say the weak. He didn't say unbelievers. He said many. And this offense would not be a small, passing irritation. It would become a spiritual force that exposes the real condition of the heart before the rapture. Offense is not just emotional pain. It is a prophecy unfolding. It is one of the clearest signs that hearts are being sorted. Look around you. People are angrier than ever. Families are splitting. Churches are dividing. Friendships are shattering. Small disagreements turn into lifelong bitterness. Social media is full of outrage. People carry wounds like armor. And believers who once walked in love now walk with suspicion, hurt, resentment, and walls around their hearts. This isn't random. This is the sign Jesus spoke of. Offense is exploding in our generation, and it is revealing who has truly surrendered to Jesus and who has only surrendered when it is easy. Offense is spiritual poison. It doesn't enter through the mind, it enters through the heart. It doesn't attack your beliefs, it attacks your love. Jesus said in the last days, love would grow cold. How does love grow cold? Through offense, through hurt that goes unhealed, through betrayal that turns into bitterness, through disappointment that becomes distrust, through wounds that harden instead of heal. The moment offense enters, a heart begins to chill. Even if the person still attends church, prays prayers, or sings worship songs, the enemy knows he cannot stop you from believing in Jesus, so he tempts you to hold offense toward others, toward life, and even toward God, because offense blinds you. It blinds you to your own need for forgiveness. It blinds you to the presence of Jesus. It blinds you to the urgency of the hour. It blinds you to your responsibility to walk in love. When the heart is wounded and offended, it cannot hear clearly, see clearly, or love deeply. And without love, a heart cannot be ready for the rapture. But here is the part many believers miss. Offense is a refining fire disguised as a wound. When someone hurts you, when you feel misunderstood, betrayed, abandoned, overlooked, that moment becomes a crossroads. One path leads to bitterness, coldness, distance, and darkness. The other path leads to forgiveness, healing, humility, and deeper intimacy with Jesus. Offense does not show who hurt you. It shows what is inside you. It reveals the weakness that Jesus wants to heal. This is why offense is exploding right before the rapture. It is sorting hearts between those who cling to pride and those who walk in humility, between those who justify their hurt and those who surrender it, between those who want to be right and those who want to be like Jesus. It exposes who is truly following him and who is following their feelings. It reveals who has oil and who has excuses. Forgiveness is not optional in the last days. It is prophetic. It is a sign of a heart aligned with heaven. It is proof of oil in your lamp. It is evidence that the fire of the Holy Spirit still lives in you, because only burning hearts can forgive. Only surrendered hearts can let go. Only purified hearts can rise when the bridegroom calls. The offended heart stays behind, not because Jesus rejects it, but because it is too heavy to rise. So ask yourself, who hurt you? Who disappointed you? Who betrayed you? And have you forgiven them? Not with your mouth, but with your heart. This is the hour to release every offense. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now, because the sign is happening. Offense is sorting hearts. And only those who choose forgiveness are preparing themselves to meet Jesus in the air. Part 4. The Love Divider. Cold hearts versus burning hearts. Jesus gave a chilling warning about the final generation before his return. The love of many will grow cold. Notice he didn't say love would disappear instantly. He said it would grow cold slowly, gradually, quietly, the same way a fire dies when it is not fed. And today, hearts everywhere are cooling, not because people don't believe, but because they don't burn, not because they deny Jesus, but because they no longer pursue him, not because they reject truth, but because they have replaced it with comfort. This is the love divider, another sign sorting hearts before the rapture. The world is not just becoming darker. Believers are becoming colder. You can see it in prayerlessness, in indifference, in a lack of holiness, in empty worship, in rushed devotion, in apathy towards sin, in the loss of passion for Jesus. But at the same time, something else is happening. Some hearts are burning brighter than ever. Their love is intense, urgent, alive. They feel the nearness of Jesus. They pursue him with a hunger that sets them apart. These are the hearts that are being prepared. Cold hearts and burning hearts may walk in the same church, sit in the same row, lift the same hands, and sing the same songs, but they are not the same. One is ready for the rapture, the other is not. This is the separation Jesus spoke of. The final sign is not about outward acts, but inward affection. Jesus is not returning for a church that believes. He is returning for a bride that burns. Coldness doesn't show up overnight. It begins with small compromises. A skipped prayer here, a neglected word there, a little sin tolerated, a little distraction allowed, a little more time in the world, and a little less in his presence. Slowly the flame shrinks, and eventually only a memory of fire remains. And the person still thinks they're fine, because they still believe. But belief is not readiness. Belief is the lamp, love is the oil. A burning heart is not loud or showy. It is consistent, surrendered, hungry for Jesus above all else. It says yes when the flesh says no. It chooses obedience when the world chooses compromise. It protects intimacy like treasure. It refuses to let distraction steal devotion. These believers feel the times. They sense the hour. They know Jesus is near, and their hearts respond with fire. This season is dividing the church in ways we cannot ignore. Some are drifting into comfort. Some are rising into consecration. Some are cooling because the world is louder than their prayer life. Some are burning because they have chosen to sit at the feet of Jesus. The sign is sorting hearts, and not by who is in church, but by who is in love. Ask yourself, is my love cold or burning? Am I stirred by his presence, or am I numb? Do I long for his return, or do I fear it? Does sin still grieve me, or have I grown used to it? Am I distracted or devoted? Because this sign is not about perfection, it is about affection. Jesus is not requiring flawless performance. He is looking for fiery pursuit. This is the hour to stir up the flame, to return to your first love, to ignite passion again, to push aside the world and run back to Jesus with everything in you. Because when the trumpet sounds, cold hearts won't rise. Only burning ones will. And right now, in this final season, this sign is sorting hearts into two groups: those who are ready and those who are comfortable. Those who love his appearing and those who avoid it. You get to choose which heart is yours. Part 5. There is a reason Jesus ended so many of his teachings about the end times with warnings about obedience. Not dramatic obedience, not perfect obedience, but simple, steady, surrendered obedience, the kind that flows from a heart that loves him. In every parable of readiness, obedience is the dividing line. In the parable of the servants, the faithful obeyed while the others delayed. In the parable of the virgins, the wise obeyed by bringing oil while the foolish assumed they didn't need it. In the parable of the talents, The faithful obeyed by using what they were given, while the fearful buried theirs in the ground. Over and over, Jesus showed that in the final moments before his return, obedience would be the sign that sorts hearts. This isn't obedience out of fear. It isn't obedience rooted in legalism. It's obedience that reveals love. Jesus said, "If you love me, keep my commandments." He didn't say, "If you fear my return, keep my commandments." A heart motivated by fear will obey for a moment and then collapse under pressure. But a heart motivated by love obeys because it knows the one who calls is worthy. That love is the final marker. That obedience is the final sign sorting hearts before the rapture. Right now, Jesus is watching how we respond to his voice. Not how loudly we worship, not how much biblical information we store, not how many Christian videos we watch, not how many opinions we express, but how we obey. Are we doing what he says? Are we surrendering what he asks us to surrender? Are we letting go of what he whispers for us to release? Are we stepping into what he nudges us to do? Because the sorting of hearts is not about religious activity, it is about surrendered alignment. In this season, small acts of obedience carry eternal weight. Reading the word even when your flesh resists. Praying even when you feel nothing. Forgiving even when it hurts. Turning away from sin even when temptation rises. Closing doors the enemy is using to drain your fire. Saying yes to assignments Jesus places in front of you, even if they seem small, hidden, or insignificant. Every obedient act becomes spiritual oil. Every yes is fuel for your lamp. Every surrender is proof that your heart is his. What makes obedience so powerful in the last days is that it is becoming increasingly rare. Many believers obey when it's convenient, when it fits their plans, when it doesn't challenge their comfort. But in this hour, Jesus is calling for a deeper yes, a yes that costs something, a yes that reshapes your habits, your time, your priorities, a yes that goes against the drifting current of a lukewarm generation, a yes that says, "Not my will, but yours." Obedience is the dividing line between information and transformation. Many know what Jesus said, few do it. Many admire his teachings, few follow them. Many believe in the rapture. Few prepare their lives to match their belief. And that is why Jesus said, "Not everyone who says, 'Lord, Lord,' will enter, but those who do the will of his Father. Not those who know it, not those who agree with it, those who do it." This is not a call to perfection. It is a call to posture. The heart that says, "Yes, Jesus," even when shaking, even when scared, even when unsure. That is the heart that is being prepared for his return. That is the heart that is being sorted into the bridal company. Obedience is not measured by how flawless you are, but by how surrendered you are. And obedience reveals something else, who you really belong to. The world follows its desires. The lukewarm follow convenience. The religious follow tradition. But the bride follows Jesus. She listens to his voice in the noise. She obeys even when no one sees. She keeps oil because it matters to her. She trims her lamp because she knows he is coming. She aligns her life with heaven's rhythm because she longs for the day he calls her home. The final sign sorting hearts before the rapture is not fame, gifting, talent, knowledge, or spiritual image. It is obedience. Quiet, daily, steady obedience that says his voice is worth more than anything else. This sign is revealing who is ready to rise when he calls, because when the trumpet sounds, only hearts aligned with him will move toward him. The time for negotiating with sin is over. The time for delayed obedience is over. The time for half-hearted surrender is over. The time for spiritual excuses is over. Jesus is calling his bride into full obedience, not out of burden, but out of love. Because obedience is the language of love, and love is the evidence of readiness. This is the hour to say yes, fully, completely, wholeheartedly, to walk where he leads, to let go of what he tells you to release, to step into what he has placed before you, to live ready, not someday, not eventually, but now. Because the sign is happening, the sorting is underway, and the bridegroom is nearer than we dare imagine. Conclusion. The sign is happening now, and it is revealing who truly belongs to Jesus. If your heart has been stirred, shaken, awakened, or exposed while hearing this message, it is not an accident. It is the sign. This is the hour Jesus spoke of when he said everything hidden would be revealed, not to shame you, but to prepare you, not to destroy you, but to purify you, not to push you away, but to bring you closer. Because before he comes for the church, he is preparing the bride. Before he gathers his people, he is sorting hearts. The sign is not in the sky, it is in you. It is the separation between the drifting and the devoted, the revealing of the cold and the burning, the exposing of offense and the healing of forgiveness, the distinguishing between belief and obedience, the sorting of those who merely know his name and those who truly belong to him. This sign is happening now, silently yet powerfully, dividing hearts according to their affection for Jesus. And you get to respond. You get to choose which side of the separation you stand on. You get to decide whether your heart grows cold or burns hotter. You get to decide whether offense becomes bitterness or forgiveness. You get to decide whether trials destroy your faith or deepen it. You get to decide whether you drift into numbness or awaken into intimacy. You get to decide whether you live like the wise or the foolish, the devoted or the distracted, the burning or the comfortable. The rapture will not separate believers from unbelievers. It will separate hearts. Hearts full of oil from hearts full of excuses. Hearts awakened from hearts asleep. Hearts surrendered from hearts divided. Hearts burning from hearts cold. And right now, in this moment, Jesus is calling to you, inviting you to let him complete the work he has begun. This is not a warning of fear. It is an invitation of love. Jesus wants you ready. He wants you close. He wants you filled. He wants you burning. He wants you healed. He wants you awake, because he is coming, and he wants you to rise when he calls your name. Let the sign do its work in you. Let Jesus reveal what must be healed, surrendered, or restored. Let him separate you from what cannot enter eternity with you. Let him fill your lamp again. Let him ignite your heart again. Let him prepare you, purify you, and position you for the moment the heavens open, because the sign is sorting hearts, and when the trumpet sounds, may yours be one that beats only for him.